Alright, so you press that top button,
Yeah.
and then when you see the numbers start counting,
Yeah.
alright, you film them, okay?
Well, this is my wife, the owner of High Valley Trout Farm. She's the third generation, Charlie Ziegler. She owns the trout farm, I manage it. And her name's Louissa Shore. So she's been here her whole life.
What was it like growing up on the trout farm?
It was really great. It was always busy, and yeah.
Tell them that story about the time that a trout had got loose in the creek, a bigger trout, and your dad told you to go catch it.
It was in this creek right down here, and my cousin was up here with us, and we had seen it, and it was a pretty good sized trout, and my dad said, you know, go catch it, and we'll, you know, fry it up and eat it. So we spent all day trying to catch this trout, and we finally get it and take it to my dad, and he was like, oh, good job, go put it back in the tanks now. So.
Oh, man.
And she's got some other stories, like I think she told me one time a bear actually broke a tank, and in the middle of the night, you could see it in the moonlight. She can tell you more about it.
Yeah, it was down at the lower end, and it was a full moon, and we had bears in there all the time. And we look out our window, and he's leaned up on the tank wall and just started rocking and broke the concrete tank completely off. And the fish go everywhere, and yeah, it was pretty bad down there for a while with bears. But so far we haven't had any in here yet.
It was a buffet for him.
Oh yes, yeah, all of them. It was bad.
So did you ever think growing up that you would end up owning the trout farm and running it?
No, it was never my dream. But here we are. So.
Mom, is the camera pointed at you?
It is, thank you.
He can edit that out.
We got,
He's kind of all over the place.
You can do like this too. Just pull out somebody else.
so, did your dad do the trout farm as well?
He did. He helped. He helped for a while, and still he's involved with us a little and helping us. So he'll be with us today when we go later.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's good to have that.
Yeah. So you'll be doing a stocking, but sadly we won't be able to document that today.
Right.
But you're planning on heading back out maybe later this year, and hope we'll be able to document that.
Yep, October is the time I had applied for the permit for stocking the pond, and I'm hoping you guys can tag along for that if our schedules work out.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And yeah, I'll put up your information in the description on how to reach out and get in tours and contact.
I'm working on a website for our business. Like I said, we've only been doing this a year, so we're getting started up from scratch. I actually worked the public job at the state to be able to financially be able to do this and get started up. So our customers make us, you guys make us, and that's just why we're here. And how we're able to do this. We're also a Christmas tree farm. It's High Valley Tree Farm, Christmas tree farm. And you can contact my mother-in-law, Sandra Ziegler, at 828-966-9241 with any questions about Choose and Cut, which opens around Thanksgiving and stays open until about January the 1st.
Awesome.
So, yep.
All right. Well, thanks so much. So I was able to Shadow Dustin a couple months ago, and he told me about the hatchery that was here. I learned about how this got started in 1967,
I don't know.
and so wanted to just meet the man that started the whole thing, and what interested you in trout farming, or how'd you get into that?
How? Slipped up on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. When we came up here, I was working in the woods, timber jobs here and yonder, and wondered how I could ever make a living and not go and come all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember exactly how the trout. There wasn't other people in it at the time.
Mr. Colchow came and
There
visited.
was the state was in, or the federal, whoever, over there. Huh?
Mr. Colchow bought the property and he came over and talked to you about doing his logging operation, and then that led to the fish.
Well, he didn't buy this.
No, he bought
He
the
bought
property
around.
next
There
to
was
it.
an old gentleman that owned 1,800 acres, I believe it was, in here that the Pisgah was put around.
Uh-huh.
They didn't confiscate it, and we got 300 and something from him. He started selling it, and the government's got most of it now, I think. But that's how we wound up here. I wanted to own some land, and I liked Transylvania County, but I thought it would be more expensive than it ever was. But this was all woods, and made it cheap enough to we could buy it. And my wife wasn't really wanting to leave the county, so she didn't fuss much about coming up here.
Because you'd
Uh-huh.
looked into a homestead in British Columbia, and she was
Yeah, I
happy
was-
to be here rather than theirs.
Right.
That's what I had looked into, the possibility of British Columbia homestead, and it's pretty appealing
Uh-huh.
to somebody that wanted to work. And my intent was really to go. And I heard about the old man Walt Wilk owned 1,800 acres in here, I believe it was. There's 334 of this that I got from him. But I heard about him thinking about selling because of his age. I had heard of him, but I never knew him. And back then there was government had a gate on the road, but he was allowed to put his lock on it, and he could give a key out to friends. So his friend brought me up or loaned me a key. I don't remember which. I got a little bit acquainted with him, and talking, and asked him if he had a cove that laid good, and I never will forget. Yeah, think I do.
Mm-hmm.
So we walked across this mountain to come in here and look at it. This is all woods.
Mm-hmm.
And then Robert Colchow bought land next to you and wanted to come meet you, right?
Yeah, there was a fellow, Holchow, owned a lot of land in Henderson County, and a good bit of it had timber on it, and some of it he wanted to clear up. And, but anyhow, he first started out selling the pulpwood and logs off of it, and because of him buying here next to us, he came up one day and he said he wanted to meet his neighbor, and we got kind of acquainted. And all of a sudden he got kind of serious. He said, "You working in the woods and make a living at it?" I said, "Yeah, not quite as good as it used to be, but still do." And he said, well, he talked about how his was going on. And he said, "Now, I don't need to make money, but don't like to lose money. And I'm losing money selling my own timber with my own saws and trucks and losing money." And somebody was cheating on him somewhere. Extremely lazy or something, I don't know. Anyhow, I went to work for him, worked about 3 months showing a profit, and he knew that it wasn't, and we did other things from there on. He built some stuff down there. He had a lot of property in Henderson County. He built some things down there that I worked on.
You had a catch-out pond over there, didn't you? That's how he wanted you to grow the fish for it.
Well, Yeah, but that wasn't a big deal with him. There was other
Yeah.
availabilities.
But it turned out to be a big deal for you.
Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So how did the name High Valley Farms come about?
Jeanette, uh, she named it.
Okay.
My wife named it. Yeah, after we'd been up here a little while, and I had cleared up some. The old building out there looks kind of like a barn.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we could afford at that time. We lived there a good long while before we was able to build this. Anyhow, she started calling it High Valley.
Did you go to other places to teach beginning trout farmers?
Only when somebody asked me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where all did you travel?
Oh, not pretty much all over western North Carolina.
Okay.
And out of the state just a little. I went up to the northeast a time or two. But mostly just all over western North Carolina.
Okay.
You went to Kentucky, and you went to Denmark, but was that consultation?
Sometime after I'd been in it and several other people were in it, I was not instrumental in the beginning of it. They formed an organization
Co-op.
for the trout growers, marketing system, so on and so forth. And I don't remember how much. It wasn't a lot, but the membership had to donate each year. And I can't remember just how it came about, but Denmark was early in the trout business.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to pay my way out there. I like traveling,
Mm-hmm.
and so I went to Denmark.
Nice, nice.
And I came back from there to Washington or Oregon State, I forget which. There were some people wanting to go into it out there and wanted to look. I kind of got pretty interesting time there for several years. It kind of slipped up on me. I didn't know what I was going to have. But I was successful in it early without being a big deal, you know. I didn't have a lot of money, anything like that. But somehow my name got around.
Mm-hmm. What was the first species of trout that you raised or started farming?
When you say species, you're talking about rainbow or brook.
Mm-hmm.
Well, rainbow and then both of them, yeah.
Gotcha.
Rainbow continued to be they're bigger, they grow faster, you can produce more poundage, and when the food market began to attack them, you know, the restaurants and so on, rainbow pretty much took over. But I liked brook trout, but you couldn't grow near the pounds per annum in brook. It's good rainbow.
Okay.
And they don't even get as big. Pound and a half or so is pretty good sized brook.
Mm-hmm.
In rainbow, they can go to about 30, but hardly ever more than 16 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out for me. I didn't have any of this planned way ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Kept slipping up on me.
Well, it's
But
great.
The other people got interested in it, you know, and I guess heard that I was successful, or I don't know what all they heard. Come talk to me, and then started having little meetings and so on. But they formed there was a little organization at one time. Each member contributed some to it. And I don't remember, I stayed back out of that as much as I could. I was too busy in working the business than get involved in it. But anyhow, they sent, well, there was fellow, I was trying to think of his name, I was well acquainted with him, who was not a grower, but a government person that was helping with the organization and all. And they set up for he and I to go to Denmark, which was early in the trout business.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of an interesting venture.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about doing anything like that. They paid the way.
Yeah.
And there was a government fellow went with me.
Dick Jennings went with you too, didn't he?
No, not on that. You know, you heard of Dick Jennings, know anything about it?
I don't know.
He was early on in it, and he was financially pretty strong. He didn't really need it just to make money. But somehow he got interested in it and got into it. And I got acquainted with him early on. But he was a good bit older than me. He's been gone for a good long while.
Mm.
He had a farm over on the other side of the mountain here to us. That he lived in. Well, he had a home in Asheville, but he had a home in the Highlands. We lived up there most of the time.
Okay.
Dick Jennings. I don't know. I guess somebody with government or whatever discovered that I was making a living on Little Creek up there. Got kind of interesting to it.
Yeah. Did I hear you built the little runways, the raceways?
Yeah. Well, down at the lower end,
Mm-hmm.
what we call the lower end, there's a whole series of them down there. But yeah, I built.
You built the hatchery and
Yeah.
It could still be that way if it was being operated, I guess, but I never thought about it, but I was told that I grew more pounds per gallon per minute than anybody in the country, maybe the world, is the way they put it. I
Oh,
don't remember now who it was.
yeah.
But down out of sight as you come in, just a little ways, I've got a series of tanks down there where the little creek goes over a set of falls, and I built the upper side of that where I could drop the water from tank to tank, drive the oxygen back,
Mm-hmm.
and grew a lot of pounds on a small amount of water.
Nice.
I think that's what got people interested. Partly that, and partly that I was making a living before it was done much.
Right.
But I've enjoyed it. It's been a good bit of work, but it's a good thing to like work.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I guess I'll call that done. But thank you very much, Mr. Ziegler, for your
Sure,
time. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm just sitting here.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's been great. It's been a real honor to get to meet you, and looking forward to sharing your story with everybody.
Doing nothing but resting anymore.
Yeah.
well, you deserve it after all these
My
years.
daughter and
Yeah.
my wife keeps the house going. Feed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 92 and he and Mom have been married 71 years. So that's
Fantastic.
quite a record.
Well, congratulations.
71.
Yeah.
I don't keep up